everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make that sound that you just heard. It's sort of a progressive synth that you may hear in Calvin Harris or Deadmau5 songs. It's kind of, I think it sounds a little bit metallic, but I'm going to show you how to make it. So why don't I just get out of here and start a new page up. Here we go. Alright, so as always, you will need to start with a mixer, and if you want to, you can put your a dance mastering suite up at the top, but it's not needed. So the first thing I'm gonna need you guys to create is a Combinator. Alright, so once you get a Combinator, inside the Combinator in this box, just right click and create a Thor. Create Thor polysonic synthesizer. So what we're going to do first is take the polyphony and bring it down to 4, and then release polyphony down to 1. For this synth, we're going to have it as a polyphonic synth, so we can actually play chords, because that's what those sounds are different chords. We're not going to have any portamento on this synth, so that's all you're going to need to do up here. So now click Show Programmer. It's going to be a 3 oscillator synth, so let's select 1, 2, and 3. For the first analog oscillator, you can leave it as it should be a sawtooth. The octave should be 4, and that's all you're going to need to do. For the second oscillator, create another analog. Sawtooth is fine. Bring up the octave 1 spot, so it's on 5, and bring up the semi to 7. Alright, and then for the third oscillator is also going to be an analog oscillator. This one is going to be a sine wave, which is the squiggly one at the bottom. And this octave is going to go down 1, so we can get some bass. So let's go over to our little mixer over here. Let's move the balance over to about 92. That's going to give us more sound from oscillator 2 than oscillator 1, so we get that higher pitch one coming through a little more. And then for oscillator 3, bring up the level all the way to the top, so the bass really comes out. Alright, let's go up to our low pass ladder filter up here. You're going to take the frequency knob and you're going to move it downwards to around 213, and bring the resonance up to about 20, just a little bit up. Now this is a big deal for the sound. Right here is our envelope amount for our filter 1. We're going to bring that up. We're going to widen that envelope up. I'd say around 91 is good. It gives you that's going to give it the punch and the bite to the synth that I think is what makes it sound metallic. I don't know if anyone else agrees with me. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh yeah, we got to mess with this stuff down here. We're going to want the attack all the way down. We're going to want the decay, this is for the filter envelope. The decay, let's put it around 180. The sustain, let's also put around, right around the same level, which is 50.9, but it's around the same as 80, and the release should be all the way down. Let's leave the attack over here, decay here is fine. We can bring the sustain all the way up, and we'll bring the release to about, let's say, around 1 second. For the envelope release, so it's around there. You guys don't have to do the exact numbers I'm doing, just so it looks close enough. You're going to get pretty much the same sound. And then if you want to, you can go ahead in here and assign your filter frequency to the mod wheel, whatever, but that's not really important, so let's move on. The first thing I'm going to create, I right-clicked on this Thor, and I got this, and I'm going to my Create menu. And I'm going to select Digital Vocator. And I'm going to make this vocator an equalizer by selecting Equalizer. Make it a 4-band equalizer. And take the shift and move it over to around 20. Sounds good. It's going to give it a little more frequency. Next, right click again and create a Rv7 Advanced Reverb. I want you guys to go to the reverb in this section and click all warm plate. Bring the dry wet down to 0 or 2. Make sure that the EQ enable is on, and bring the decay down to 0 and leave it as is. Next, you will be creating an Rv7 Digital Reverb. This is going to be our reverb for the track. This is really important. Make it a large hall setting. and bring the dry wet down to around 16 is good. And you can bring the damp up a little bit if you want, it doesn't really matter. I'll set it at 52. Alright, moving along, we're going to right click once again, and we are going to create a maximizer, and we're going to pump up the volume of this synth. We're going to bring the input gain up to around 2.2 decibels. We are going to select the 4 millisecond look ahead. We're going to select soft clip and soften the clip up. We're going to move this to auto right here. On the release speed should be auto. And that's about it. Now if I play the synth, that's exactly what I was looking for. You might want to take down the reverb a little bit, maybe move it up depending on what sound you're going for. I didn't add an EQ on this because I think EQing is very personal. I think that I think that you should throw an EQ on this synth, but I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I think that everyone can do it for themselves because everyone has a different opinion on it. So I would recommend adding an equalizer and tweaking the highs, lows, mids, everything like that to your best suiting. Another thing I would do with this synth is, of course, add a compressor and put some sidechain compression. That's what I did in the example once the drums came in. It's just going to make it so the bass doesn't bleed into your kick drum. It's always will sound better. You don't have to have the threshold on the sidechain all the way down, but as long as that the bass kick and the bass synth are not bleeding, it's going to sound a lot better. If you're wondering how I made it kind of sound a little wowy on the intro of the sample for this song, all I did was automate the attack to go up during the intro, and that made it sound a little more wah. It gave it a little bit more wowiness. Let's see. Is there anything else to tell you? To use this synth, it's good to make 2-note or 3-note chords. I don't even know what a chord is because I'm not very musical, but I think chord means there has to be at least 3 notes, so I guess 3 notes for a chord. Yeah, and do what you need to do. It's fun to mess with the delay over here. If you select delay and tempo sync, if you put it on maybe 1/16, it's going to sound kind of like an ARP. It's going to add some cool delays. Use the chorus if you want to widen up the sound. Yeah, the filter frequency is the lower it is, it's going to sound more like just a little drop, and the higher you go, it's really going to build up. So automate that frequency if you want. Alright, I hope this tutorial helped some of you guys out. This is not my normal kind of music that I make tutorials for, but you know, everyone loves progressive sometimes, and a lot of you guys have been requesting a tutorial on this sound. So here you go.